Why, hello everyone! Welcome to the All the Anime Industry Panel 1 here at cloudmatsuri.com. I'm Jeremy Graves of Anime Limited, and I am joined by my regular cohort in crime for these sorts of ventures, Mr. Andy Hanley, also of Anime Limited.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going, Andy? We're back on Cloud Matsuri again.
Yeah, it's early days. There's still a lot to be watched, a lot to come. But yeah, it's good to be back.
Indeed, and we hope you guys have enjoyed the panels that have taken place throughout the day so far. Loads more stuff to come, but we've got a lot to talk about. Now, normally what we would do if you've ever seen one of our industry panels is we would go into a big long spiel about who we are, what we do, and then we would move into some more, perhaps arguably exciting things as to what things we have coming up and some new announcements. I'd be lying if I said that isn't what's going to happen today, but the very, very first part of that, we're probably going to truncate it a little bit more than usual because we do have, and I want to say this from the outset, a second All the Anime Industry panel taking place tomorrow, that being Sunday the 22nd of November at 8 p.m, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, where that will feature Mr. Andy Hanley and our CEO, Andrew Partridge. There will be a live Q&A portion of that panel as well, where you can pitch any kind of question you want to Mr. Andrew Partridge. So if you've got any particular licensing-based questions that you want to throw his way, I'm just going to say it's probably a better idea to throw them at him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, save all the worst questions for Andrew, please, and I will make him tackle them tomorrow.
So who are we? We are Anime Limited. We are the UK's largest independent distributor of Japanese animation, be it on home video, cinema, when the world allows it, and digitally. You can find all the information relating to our releases at alltheanime.com. That is our official website, and you can also find us on social media on the likes of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course here on YouTube, if that is where you're watching Cloud Matsuri, under the username All the Anime. We like to try and go in a different direction, some might say, to how other companies may handle releases, because we like to do traditional Blu-ray and DVD releases, but then we have our own collector's edition releases, and then when it's required, or when we simply have so much material that it would be foolish of us not to take advantage of it, we like to go one step further, and that be an Ultimate Edition release. Andy, it's fair to say over the years, we have done some pretty ridiculous stuff when it comes to Ultimate Editions, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's resin gates, flight cases, you name it. We've somehow managed to mold it into an anime release.
So this brings us on to kind of what we're going to be talking about today a little bit, because rather than take you through how we do lots of other things and what we have been releasing recently, Andy, we have made a decision that we want to focus on some upcoming releases. And by upcoming, we mean like imminently, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Like as people may have noticed and be starting to fret about, it's the end of November. We're fast approaching December. And of course, we all start having to think about Christmas. So it is time for us to talk about our 12 Days of Christmas sale, which is going to have some pretty tasty goodies and morsels to tempt you with this year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year for your bank accounts and wallets to weep with utter agony, because if you've seen our 12 Days of Christmas sales before, everybody, there's been a pretty regimented format when it comes to how we do things and what offers there are going to be. This year, we are changing it up a little bit. Now, if you recently tuned in to our All the Anime Christmas Showcase, which you can watch at our YouTube channel in its entirety, at youtube.com/alltheanime, where we ran through a whole bunch of products that are going to be coming up for you during the 12 Days of Christmas sale in a lot more detail. So Andy, the Christmas sale is going to be kicking off this year with our, what some people at this point called legendary, which might be a stretch, but you know, everyone's got their own choice of words, mystery box offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if people aren't aware, what we do every year with our mystery box is we take 5 of our collector's edition products. Who knows what they are, because it's a mystery. We stick them all in one box, and for £45, you can have what usually comes out to a couple of £100 worth of anime, just all yours for 45 quid. And as you can imagine, they're pretty popular. They tend to fly off the shelves. Traditionally, our mystery box has always been like the final day of the sale. But just to kind of spoil everybody trying to figure out what's in the boxes, we decided we'd switch it up and be a bit mean this year and make it day one.
So the mystery box will kick off the sale, but throughout the days of the sale, folks, the way it is going to work is that there will be a new product added to the ongoing sale every day. There will be a whole bunch of products that will be on sale throughout the Christmas sale, but there will be new select products added to the lineup each day. And speaking of the word popular, Andy, a release which I'm going to put it pretty bluntly here in a polite way. We have had some people literally badgering us for the better part of 2 years about wanting news on this. And we know it has been a long time coming. And we're really grateful that you guys really wanted news on this. But we can now tell you Cyber City Oedo 808, our collector's edition Blu-ray of it, is coming. And it will be part of the 12 Days of Christmas sale. Andy, it's fair to say this release is far more loaded than we probably could have ever imagined when we first announced this was coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Our initial plan for this was just like, okay, we'll remaster this on Blu-ray, we'll put it out, maybe it'll have a little booklet or something, or some, nice rigid packaging, and that'll be it. But as time went on, we kind of got a bit carried away, if we're being honest. So yeah, we ended up with a booklet packed with really good information and interviews with some of the kind of major players in its English UK release in particular. The remastering went really well, so it looks really great. We figured everybody loves the English soundtrack from Rory McFarlane, so we'd probably better add that. So we ended up picking up the rights to the CD, which will be included. We made an entire documentary about the making of Cyber City Oedo, right from its kind of, initial Japanese gestation through to all of the various aspects of its English release. You can catch the premiere of that later on today at Cloud Matsuri, but it's also on the disc. And yeah, we picked up all the extras from the previous release of the series. We remastered Manga UK's kind of rather nifty trailer. We basically went the whole hog because why not? And because everybody was so red hot for this, we kind of caught the bug and ended up being red hot for it as well.
Yeah, and you got a little bit of an extra exclusive tidbit there, folks, because that documentary that Andy mentioned, it is indeed going to be on our Blu-ray release. There was some last minute, let's say, working quite late at night to make it possible, partly by my colleague here, Mr. Andy Hanley, but it has happened. It is going to be on the disc, and you can see the premiere of that documentary later today here at Cloud Matsuri. It is something to behold. I'm not going to spoil anything, folks, but you need to see this thing. It is going to be a great time, and you're going to be even more hyped for it if you aren't already. But speaking of being hyped for things, Andy, a title which a lot of people are excited about because it's been out of print for such a long time here in the UK following its original release by Bees Entertainment, that being Planetes.
Yes, a kind of classic manga that got a really good anime adaptation. It is beloved of our CEO, Andrew Partridge. Ask him anything about Planetes tomorrow and he will happily answer. And yeah, so we're bringing it to the West on Blu-ray for the first time, which we are very excited about because it's a really, really good and really kind of unique series.
Then next up, we know a lot of people out there are fans of Satoshi Kon, legendary director. We are delighted, to say the least, to be releasing Millennium Actress on Blu-ray. But Andy, the big news coming out of this recently from us is the fact it's not only just Blu-ray, there's a 4K Blu-ray in there as well now.
But yeah, people may or may not be aware that there was a 4K transfer done in Japan, not actually released on kind of 4K Blu-ray anywhere else. And so, it got theatrical screenings in 4K, etc., etc. But when we kind of came to our release, it kind of felt wrong not to use that to its fullest extent. So we went away and we got a proper 4K HDR version of the film made and put on a UHD Blu-ray. So if you've got a shiny new PlayStation 5 or you've got one on the way, or the new Xbox for that matter, and you want something to watch on it, then why not check out Millennium Actress in 4K to christen that UHD Blu-ray drive.
But moving on from there, Andy, something a bit different in the realm of films that we'll be releasing, because there is also Summer Days with Coup.
Yeah, so this is a film from the director Keiichi Hara, who a name some people may recognize from Miss Hokusai, another of our releases that got an Ultimate Edition. Also stuff like Colourful, and more recently Birthday Wonderland, which we released on home video this year. And Some Days with Coup, it's a really, really charming little film. Like, it kind of takes the idea of like the mythological Japanese creature, the kappa, and kind of has a really interesting little story to tell around one particular kappa that gets kind of involved with a family. And, obviously, being a mythological creature that is suddenly proven to exist proves quite interesting to some people. And it's a really good story. It's a really good little film. Like, I kind of watched it recently for the first time, maybe not expecting much, because it's not like a big name movie, even like something like Miss Hokusai that was talked about a lot, but actually it deserves more credit than it gets. It's a really good film.
Moving on from that, everybody, we turn our attention to a show which we know a lot of people have waited for our release on, but there is a very, very good reason it has taken a while for us to be able to actually release this. And we're going to elaborate, like we did in our Christmas showcase, for you now as to why that happened. Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory, Season 4 of Full Metal Panic. I am very excited to add this to my collection as well. That is going to be arriving as a Blu-ray Collector's Edition set. You'll get the entire season. There's a bunch of extras on a disc as well. But Andy, the crucial detail, which is why our release has taken so long to come out, is in Japan, they have something called audio dramas, or picture dramas, as they're sometimes referred to. And these are stories featuring the voice cast that perhaps, think of it like a radio play, like you'd hear on the radio here in the UK, for example. And they would act out, in voice obviously, a scenario, a story that occurs. Well, one of the audio dramas that was created was an adaptation of the light novel that follows the story of the second raid that then actually leads in to Invisible Victory. So there is actually like a gap in the story technically, although, it's just the way it worked out, but it's, not ideal, let's say, when it comes to wanting to be a completionist in terms of the Full Metal Panic anime. So what we did was we were able to get hold of said audio drama, which, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, it's A Very Merry Christmas?
Dancing Very Merry Christmas.
There you go. We got hold of that, and via, I'll say some Smoky Mountain magic, because it sounds far more greater than perhaps actually was involved to make it possible. But what we did was we put that on a Blu-ray. So you will actually be able to watch the audio drama with some imagery as well involved, and you'll be able to watch it subtitled, as it is only in Japanese audio, but you will then be able to experience this in a way, quote unquote, extra season of Full Metal Panic that then leads you right into Invisible Victory. It is something I'm incredibly excited to watch myself, Andy, because admittedly at the time that we're recording this, folks, I've not had a chance to see it, but I'm very excited and I'm delighted it's included in our release.
Yes, yeah, I did get to see it because, such are the hardships of working for Anime Limited. Got to sit and watch all this anime. It's terrible. It is a really good, fun kind of connecting story. You can kind of see why they skipped it because it's not absolutely crucial to anything that happens in Invisible Victory, but it's a good little story and it kind of adds a little bit more depth to kind of Sosuke and Chidori's relationship. So it's really nice to have. And yeah, it was the thing when Invisible Victory came out of everybody saying but what about this story? We're never going to get to see this in English. And so it's really cool that we actually managed to go away and make that happen and let people kind of fill in that gap. Because yeah, like you say, if you're a big Full Metal Panic fan, as I think both of us are, you kind of want to experience the whole thing. And now you can.
And also, folks, we should not just try and toot our own horn here, but I'm going to. This is also exclusive to our release. So if you really want it that badly, you're going to have to get our release. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, not only did we add that, we also added in a whole bunch of other Full Metal Panic audio dramas while we were at it. So there's a whole bunch of far less important and far more entertaining comical what if audio dramas as well, which imagine some rather ludicrous scenarios that will entertain you this Christmas.
So folks, if you want to be the complete Full Metal Panic fan, you need this in your collection. Speaking of needing to complete your collections, folks, some of you may already know that we have released K Missing Kings, K Return of Kings. In the near future, K7 Stories will also be getting a release from us. But there was the elusive first season of K. It's been out of print for a very long time in the UK, but we are bringing it back to the UK on Blu-ray. It's going to be coming in a Blu-ray Collector's Edition set, Andy, and people can finally have that first season of K if they weren't able to pick up the original release a good few years ago at this point.
Yeah. I don't know think how long ago that was because it'll just make me feel old. It's been a while, and yeah, this has been one of those oft requested things from people seeing our other releases of K and our collector's edition releases and being like, oh yeah, these are really nice, but I want to start at the beginning, which is a fair comment on a series like that. So go back to the start, and we've given it the collector's edition treatment to match Missing Kings and Return of Kings.
Andy, it's fair to say that We at Anime Limited, let alone ourselves personally, are big fans of Studio Trigger, right?
That is fair to say, yes.
So when I say Kill la Kill complete Blu-ray box, what's the first thing you think of?
Excitement.
Good, because that is what people should be, because a complete Blu-ray box is finally going to be available as part of our 12 Days of Christmas sales. It's been a long time coming. We know people have been wanting it for a very long time, but you will now be able to have the entire series as a complete collection. If you've not seen it before, it is freaking bonkers. It is freaking great. And also, got to be said, watching it dub and sub is just as enjoyable. The dub is really, really strong in this one.
Yes, yeah, it's a really good show, no matter how you consume it, and it's always it's been a perennial kind of thing. It's always been the nice thing, not so much this year, but in previous years, like every convention you'd see new people coming by, being like, "Oh, Kill la Kill!" Like I need to go and buy it, and now you can just own it all in one set, which is very handy.
But wait, there's more, I hear you say? Yes, there are more offers, everybody, because the next offer to tell you about is a series by the name of Erased. It is a show that when it was airing and broadcasting, it was making people go mental at the cliffhangers, to say the least. And if you've not picked up our release of it before it went out of print, I should say, you are now going to have the opportunity to pick up these series as a complete Blu-ray set as well. And Andy, I cannot wax lyrical enough about Erased. I love the show. It is so damn good.
Yeah, it's a really good thriller. Has a little bit of time travel and kind of sci-fi stuff going in there that really kind of accentuates it. It's a really nice looking show, like really well directed from Tomohiko Ito, who did seasons 1 and 2 of Sword Art Online. And yeah, like it's really great, and it's nice that we can bring this kind of back to the UK as a complete set with some unique artwork and its slipcase that hasn't been used in the UK before, which is also a nice little extra, a little cherry on top.
Now, if you're wanting something, I will say, unique in the spectrum of anime, then you guys need to check out Children of the Sea. Because to say it is unique is perhaps an understatement, because it is one of the most weirdest things, in a polite way I mean that, you will probably watch. Andy, what is your elevator pitch, if you had to give one off the top of your head, for Children of the Sea?
I feel like you're throwing me into the ocean asking a question like that. But anyway, so I mean, my elevator pitch I'd be giving to anybody who will listen. So please listen to me so that I can stop saying it. Is that it's basically 2001: A Space Odyssey, but in the ocean. Like it's kind of it starts out as a relatively simple kind of journey of sort of teenage discovery. And then it kind of goes some places, and by the end of the film, you're kind of pondering the existential nature of the universe and and your place in it. And I think it's, if you just immerse yourself in it, if you'll excuse the pun, like it's a really fascinating film that you kind of sit staring into middle distance for days afterwards, just thinking about life. And that's the kind of movie that I really love. It's absolutely beautiful. You will not see many better animated films ever, pretty much. It is absolutely incredible looking. And so, yeah, like I definitely recommend, if you're a fan of that kind of film that will, make you think about the world a little bit differently, definitely worth checking out. Fantastic theatrical pamphlet within our collector's edition that has loads of interviews and kind of insight into the production and the original manga that it's based on. So lots of really good info to get your teeth into as well. There's even a little feature length pseudo documentary on the disc as well. So a lot to work with on this one.
Up next, everybody. Are you a fan of ReZero? Have you wanted to have all of ReZero in one complete set? Have you wanted all of season 1 just in one set that can sit on your shelf? Well, our 12 Days of Christmas sale is the place for you, because all of ReZero season 1 in one Blu-ray set is what you're going to be able to add to your collection. And Andy, if I'm correct as well, if you're someone who's perhaps more on the DVD end of the spectrum, there will be an option for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be doing a DVD set. It won't come in a box like the Blu-ray one, but you will be able to just buy it as a bundle, just to make sure you can own the entire thing. And yeah, like everybody's red hot on ReZero again, and quite rightly, because season 2 kind of it kicked some backsides, to be quite frankly, this year. So it's kind of if you've missed out on the series thus far and you kind of need a good excuse or a good chance to catch up. Admittedly, this isn't the director's cut, but you're not really missing anything there. So yeah, give it a watch, because ReZero it is a classic of the isekai genre already, and with very good reason. Like if you're if you've been pushed away from all of that and feel like, oh no, it's all the same, like ReZero is not. It's absolutely worth watching.
And finally, everybody, if you are a fan of Sword Art Online, but more specifically, perhaps other elements of Sword Art Online, because the world, or the worlds of different video games and stuff, there are so many things I personally would love to know more about. And Gun Gale Online was a perfect example of that when that game, as it were, debuted in the second season of Sword Art Online. That spin-off show, Gun Gale Online, debuted about a couple of years ago at this point, and it was a complete side story. No Kirito, no Asen, none of the main cast and crew, but it was set in the Gun Gale universe. If you're looking for an alternative, quite literally, when it comes to Sword Art Online in anime form, Gun Gale Online is an awesome 12-episode complete spin-off show that is definitely worth checking out, and you're going to be able to get a complete Blu-ray set of that as part of our 12 Days of Christmas sales.
Yeah, it's a really fun little show. You know, it's very apples to oranges compared to normal kind of Sword Art Online. And yeah, like I remember kind of when that came out, everybody was like, oh, you know, do we really need a Sword Art Online spin-off? And then everybody got kind of hooked on it because it has really good characters. It does some really good, fun stuff with the Gun Gale Online world. And it's really refreshing, but just to kind of to see that world, but without the usual kind of, you know, Kirito, the usual cast in there. And it does a surprisingly good job. It's also created by the author of Kino's Journey. So if you need a recommendation, then, you know, that's a bonus point in its favor as well.
So that, everybody, is what you can expect your wallets to be fearing during our 12 Days of Christmas sales. But wait, there's more? Yes, there is more, because there is also lots and lots of deals on a wealth of titles in our catalogue! And there's a heck of a lot of titles, folks. Like, if you've been meaning to, like, stock up on a heck of a lot of anime this year, or if you haven't done already, because Lord knows a lot of people have been, then this is the perfect time for you guys, because we've got loads of special offers across titles on pretty much a large majority of our catalogue. But Andy, because we're really, really lovely people here at All the Anime, that's not all that's going on, because we've got some extra things to tell them about, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we love saving you money whilst also asking you to spend money. We've got a whole bunch of other kind of offers and deals that will be running across the 12 Days of Christmas. So for starters, you would be very well advised to sign up to our email newsletter, which you can do from our shop website, and keep an eye on our social media channels. We'll post a sign up link in there as well. Because we will be giving you a special discount code that you can use on your first order in the shop. So if you spend over £50, you will get yourself a 10% discount, which is, you know, well worth it if you are planning to buy a few of those lovely products that we just told you about, or perhaps a whole bunch of our catalogue stuff. And it would also be worth considering taking out an annual subscription to our Screen Anime streaming service. Because if you're a subscriber to that has an annual subscription, you will get a 10% discount on all purchases on our shop, not just at Christmas, not just during the 12 days, at any time of any order. But Screen Anime members during our 12 Days of Christmas will also get 15% off their first order. So all the more reason to sign up there as well. So lots of good reasons to keep an eye on our channel, sign up to our newsletter, sign up to Screen Anime, and save yourself even more money. And alongside that, as a final note, before we move away from the sale and just leave you kind of counting the minutes until the 1st of December and the Christmas sale starts, if you are one of our international customers, you may have noticed, you know, we've been releasing a lot of vinyl recently for which we have the rights right across Europe and beyond. You know, we know a lot of you want to pick up those products like Attack on Titan on vinyl, Fully Cooley on vinyl, A Silent Voice, lots of really great soundtracks. If you're in the market for those kind of titles, and you are an international customer, for the Christmas sale period only, if you order over £100 in a single order, you will get free international shipping. So, you know, we know that it can be expensive to ship outside of the UK, and so obviously, you know, we understand that, especially during Christmas sale time. So if you're looking to place a big order, we will give you free shipping. So another thing to note when you're planning and budgeting for what you're going to pick up in our 12 Days of Christmas sale.
Please be aware the sale period is the 1st to the 12th of December 2020. So folks, that is your preview of our alltheanime.com 12 days of Christmas sales. It's going to be a doozy as per usual, so make sure you are at alltheanime.com at 5 p.m. UK on the 1st of December, as that is when the sale period will launch, and it will then conclude at 4:59 p.m. on the 12th of December. So Andy, we have gone through that. We've talked about how people's bank accounts and wallets should fare, which I feel like I've said a lot during this panel, but I'm just trying to emphasize a point. So we've talked about that. We've talked about some other special offers that will be going on, but let's look further ahead now, Andy. Let's look forward to a year which apparently will exist called 2021.
Yes, yeah.
Because we want to talk about some new licenses that we, All the Anime, have acquired that you can expect to be arriving, all going well, during the calendar year of 2021. So Andy, we've got a mystery melting pot of things that we could talk about today. If you don't mind, I want to pick the first one, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it. Far away.
So the first one that I'm going to pick out of the hat is a show by the name of Mawaru Penguin Drum. Now, this series is by Kunihiko Ikuhara, who you may know better as being the director of Revolutionary Girl Utena and Yurikuma Arashi, to name but a few. It is a very, very unique show, and it gets incredibly dark in some places. But if you love random antics involving penguins, along with some, I will call it supernatural elements, Andy, but you can probably think of a far better word to use than what I've just said. But if you just love some crazy wackiness as well, in a plot that will really, really engage you, Penguin Drum is a show you need to check out. And we are delighted to say that after the original release from elsewhere having been out of print for a very long time now, this will be coming back to the UK. But perhaps more importantly, Andy, and this is the big thing to stress from my point of view, it will be coming to the UK for the first time on Blu-ray.
So yeah, we're very aware. Obviously, the previous release of Penguin Drum was DVD only, and so we want to do it justice and give it a Blu-ray release. And we also know some other territories, their Blu-ray release, to be blunt, it wasn't full 1080p. So we are planning to go back and reauthor it and make sure that it gets a proper Blu-ray full 1080p release as well. So it's really exciting. We're big fans of Kunihiko Ikuhara here. If you tune in at the end of the day on Sunday, you'll be able to see himself and Saito-san, the author of Utena, talking for a whole hour about the history and kind of the production of Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is definitely not to be missed. So check that out at Cloud Matsuri tomorrow. But yeah, like after Utena, like Penguin Drum is a really great show. Like and as you mentioned, it goes some places. Like it starts out as like, oh, this is a cute, fun comedy with penguins, and then it's like, oh, there's a child's broiler. It takes some turns, and it is a very Ikuhara work. Like it is definitely, if you've watched Utena and are kind of fascinated by it, you will be at least as fascinated, if not more so, by Penguin Drum. So if you've not watched it yet, then this will be a release to get, and obviously planning to give it a good collector's edition release. So we'll see what we can put together in a package for you next year.
So, what is next in the melting pot of announcements that we have in this panel today for you? Andy, let me throw the ball to you, as it were. What do you want to pick out the hat?
Yeah, so it's so hard to choose when we have so many cool things to talk about. But I'm gonna take a leaf out of a lot of anime fans' book and pick a series that I think a lot of people are really excited for. And I'm equally excited to say that in 2021 we will be bringing Ascendance of a Bookworm to the UK on Blu-ray, hoping to give it a collector's edition release. Obviously, you have to wait and see what we have available to us, and what we can put together as a package. But this is a really good. It's an isekai series, but it's also kind of not. Like, it doesn't follow the usual kind of trope of, transported to a fantasy world and then like, oh, I'm going to become the strongest and defeat the demon lord. It's more, I've been transported to a fantasy world because a part of books fell on me and killed me, but that's beside the point. And I'm just going to kind of get on with a pretty normal life, except I am obsessed with reading, and I've somehow been reincarnated in a world that doesn't have any books, or at least they're not readily available. So I need to make this happen somehow. And it's kind of like, it's sort of like an isekai meets something like Spice and Wolf, where you have these kind of, fantasy world trappings, but it also has this sort of almost kind of like historical element to it, this sort of medieval, like, oh, this is how things worked back in the day. But then, it sprinkles in a little bit of magic and so on and so forth. It's a really interesting series. It does some really fascinating stuff with its characters and its setting, builds up quite nicely. And I know I know a lot of big fans of it, so it's really cool that we're going to be bringing it to the UK.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. When we were doing our podcast earlier this year, which, by the way, folks, will return next year. Stay tuned for details on that. This was something we were talking about as it was airing, or that I finally had a chance to check out, and it really, really struck a chord with me. So I'm delighted that we're going to be bringing this out here in the UK. So next up, Andy, let's I tell you, I'm going to go with this one because I seem to be going on more of the older release trend when it comes to talking about things at the moment. So next up, folks, I'm just going to call it Black Lagoon. It's a show that people really freaking love. It's got a lot of action to it. It's a really, really fun watch. Gets bloody violent in places. But we are delighted to say that we're bringing Black Lagoon back to Blu-ray here in the UK. I'm delighted about this, Andy, because Black Lagoon is freaking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll again be trying to give this a really nice collector's edition treatment, seeing what we can do with it. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I think Black Lagoon is one of the best anime ever made. Like, I realize that's probably contentious. I can almost hear people screaming at their monitors and screaming in the chat already, but it's a really, really good series. Like, and it does everything that it tries, it pulls off really well. And it's one of those shows where I think I must have watched it like maybe 3 times already, and I'm already jonesing to watch it again. And I think I could probably like watch it once a year and be just as enthralled by it every single time. It is so good in so many ways. And yeah, like I've always kind of hoped that maybe someday we'll get to work on it, and we are. So very, very excited that we'll be bringing this back to the UK in 2021 and hopefully doing something nifty with it.
So folks, stay tuned for details on what will be included in our release down the line. Andy, what you're going for next? What's next in the melting pot of beautiful anime goodness?
So I'm going to pick another kind of really interesting and kind of fascinating little series that I really ended up enjoying a lot, and that is Inspector, which we'll be bringing to the UK in 2021. It's an unusual little story of kind of a pretty ordinary guy, or so it seems, but actually all is not as it seems. And a girl who basically has the ability to kind of talk to demons and spirits. And they kind of form this weird sort of double act. It's almost like the X-Files, but not at all like the X-Files. Because there's a lot of, they basically end up kind of investigating kind of paranormal stuff going on. And it has this really interesting kind of relationship around kind of urban myths. And, what is an urban myth? How does it come to pass? And like, what effect does that actually have on reality and on these actual spirits and kind of so on and so forth that exist? And it's a really cool, really interesting show. It has some really nice visual touches. The main characters are kind of great, and it's a really enjoyable series that I'm very much looking forward to releasing next year.
It's going to be a great addition to our catalogue. And also, just to do a little bit of a name check here, Andy, it's from Brainsbase, the studio that bought People Do Rah-Rah-Rah. So yeah. Already in my book, when I first heard about the show, I was like, yeah, I'm in already. If it's got Brainsbase involved, I'm more than likely in already.
Yeah, I think it's very much a return to form for them. It's a really good series that kind of fits their sort of their style, if you like. And it's good stuff.
So our final announcement for today. Like I said, there'll be a couple of other bits and bobs to talk about during our industry panel tomorrow evening at 8 p.m, Sunday, 22nd November, Cloud Matsuri. But we do have one more thing. To use the Apple thing here, Andy, we've got just one more thing we want to mention. So, Andy, your name.
It's Andy.
Andy, it's fair to say that the film Your Name, it did all right. It was popular, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I know 1 or 2 people who quite like it. So yeah, I guess we could call it quite popular.
Yeah, if you're one of the few people on the planet that haven't seen it at this point, then fair play to you, because next year you will be getting the opportunity to watch it in a way that people have been literally kind of just craving for quite a while now. It's another one of those projects and titles where we have had a lot of people asking for this, sorry. Or perhaps more specifically, some people just asking us a heck of a lot if it is going to be possible. So, just going to call it like it is, Andy. Your Name 4K is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. As people will be aware, we brought Weathering with You to the UK in its 4K Blu-ray form this year. And yeah, that sort of precipitated a real outpouring of people who are hungry to see Your Name in 4K. And, you know, it's something that we've talked about kind of in various ways that Anime Limited basically since Your Name came out. And, you know, we've kept revisiting it, kept looking at it of like, can we do this? Can we make this happen? Is this the right time to release Your Name in 4K? And previously the answer was always no for one of a variety of reasons. But now kind of, you know, it's all added up. It's all come together. It's all coalesced. And finally, yeah, Your Name in 4K. I mean, it's a stunning film. It's actually one of my favorite kind of viewing experiences in 4K, to be quite honest. It is a fantastic looking film that really, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, stuff isn't animated in 4K, so it doesn't matter. But like, watch Your Name in 4K HDR and you will be blown away. And so, yeah, it's really fantastic that we're finally able to do that for the UK, because it's definitely, even if you've watched that film a million times before, this will be a really good viewing experience for your 1,000,001st viewing.
Indeed. And folks, just going to say this from the outset, no further details at this time, but we wanted to at least tell you that today because it is something we know a lot of you have wanted. And also, to be quite blunt, we're just really excited to share the news of that in itself with you. So, Andy, from there, I think we're going to take a quick little break and then we're going to come back, literally in probably a few moments, because we're going to do a little bit of a live Q&A. So if you've got any questions you want to throw our way before our panel time is up, use that hashtag on the likes of Twitter and such, CloudMatsuri. And of course, if you are watching this directly on YouTube, start posting your questions in the comments. Please use the hashtag before your comment, AskAllTheAnime, so that we know it is a question to be asked on the panel. Andy, anything else before we cut quickly to a quick break?
No, bring it on.
Break time! Welcome back to Cloud Matsuri, everybody. It's like we were just here, because we were, and now we are live. Welcome back, everybody. This is the live Q&A portion of the All the Anime Industry panel. I am joined, as per usual, and once again, by my cohort in crime, Mr. Andy Hanley.
Yes, hello, everyone.
And we are also joined by another member of the All the Anime team, making her, spoiler, there you go, making her first appearance this weekend. It is the one and only Kat Hall. Kat, welcome to Cloud Matsuri.
Yes, it's good to be here, I guess.
Don't sound so convinced, you know.
Yeah.
So, folks, we've been taking questions from the chat room in YouTube. We've been taking them from Twitter. Please follow the instructions on Twitter if you haven't already. We'll try and get to as many as we can. And Kat, I believe you are going to be the quiz mistress, as it were.
Yes, I am your question master for this one. So are we just going to get started with them all? Because there's quite a lot.
What have you got for us first? Throw something at us.
I'll save the ice cream ones for later, don't worry. First one is from Pixel Squid on Twitter. It's you have been interested in releasing various anime OSTs on vinyl recently. Do you have any more plans for putting other anime OSTs on vinyl?
Yes, is the short answer. The very short answer is we have another panel tomorrow here at Cloud Matsuri. You might want to check it out because maybe we'll have some stuff to talk about there, just tipping our hand slightly. So yeah, check back tomorrow for industry panel number 2, where you can ask our CEO anything. And we do have a couple of announcements for you as well.
Some might say, Andy, we can set the record straight on some things tomorrow night.
That sounds ominous.
Well, hey, it's giving our CEO doing a panel, so who knows what he's going to say, you know? Anything could happen.
Oh, wow. Sinister. Okay, next question, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, from Chimpy Will over on Twitter. I keep wanting to say the Ask Anime hashtag, but we'll put that out. The place will you do the place promised in our early days in Voices of a Distant Star as steelbook editions, like a lot of the Shinkai stuff you were doing recently? They're my favorites of his.
It's a good question, actually, and just to provide some context for people, at alltheanime.com, our online store, we are now taking pre-orders for the 5 centimeters per second steelbook set that comes with the Blu-ray as well as the CD soundtrack. You can also pre-order that exclusively as well at Zavvi.com. We will also be releasing Children Who Chase Lost Voices early next year, if memory serves, as well as a steelbook Blu-ray set. And Andy, I guess when it comes to Place Promise, what are your thoughts on that? I'd love to see it happen if at all possible, but as far as I'm aware, unless you know otherwise, nothing to say or announce at this time regarding if that is possible.
Yes, we don't have anything specific. Obviously, people have probably noticed the trend of us kind of building up a Shinkai Steelbook collection for, you know, the titles you mentioned. Your Name and Weathering with You have had steelbooks as well. So yeah, we would love to complete the set, and that is certainly the plan that is kind of here in our heads right now. But yeah, we don't have anything specific to kind of reveal around Place Promised, or also Garden of Words, which is the other title, but it's definitely something that we're looking at and looking into. So watch this space and we shall see what 2021 has to bring.
Cool. Okay, next question from at HMGONT. I'm just going to spell it out. Once all of Violet Evergarden has been released, do you plan to do an Ultimate Edition set with the TV series and 2 films included?
Certainly no plans on that at the moment. I mean, that is a fair way down the future. Obviously, we're releasing the TV series later this year. So, you know, that is already, you can see our pretty awesome collector's edition of that on our shop, alltheanime.com. Check that out. You may have seen, we previously announced that we will be releasing Eternity and the Auto Memory Doll, which is kind of the first Violet Evergarden film. And so obviously that will be getting its own collector's edition release. So certainly no plans for an Ultimate Edition because we're doing such nice collector's edition releases. And as far as the new Violet Evergarden movie goes, nothing to announce right now, but I will also mention that we do have a Screen Anime Presents panel tomorrow talking about 2021 in film, kind of putting a spotlight on a whole bunch of anime films, some of which we may have the rights to. So watch that panel tomorrow because we'll have a lot of really good information and a lot of really good insight from Jonathan Clements as well. So give that panel a watch because it's well worth your time.
Indeed, and it's also actually worth highlighting as an additional fact that our collector's edition is all, I mean, personally speaking, with the amount of content that's in there, it's so freaking packed already. It's insane because not only do we have the TV series, there's the extended episode 13. There's also, Andy, what were they referred to as? It's the Japan tour films, correct?
Yes, yeah. They're basically theatrical versions of the TV series with 5.1 audio. So if you've got a surround sound system, it's an even nicer way to watch the show.
And it's got a whopping great big book in there as well, packed full to the brim with info and art. I know because I've read virtually the whole thing. It was pretty mental. So already our Violet Evergarden release is probably one of the most definitive you're going to get when it comes to English speaking releases. So hopefully that offsets the fact already that it isn't an Ultimate Edition, but the amount of stuff in there is more than worth your buck.
Cool. Good answers. I'm not giving you points on this or anything, but you know, 10 points to Jeremy. Just saying. Okay, Stuart Claw asks on the YouTube chat, if you could make an anime themed ice cream flavor, what would it be and why?
So I don't have like a specific answer in terms of flavors. I'm just going to throw out there a question in response to the question: what would a Premier ice cream taste like?
Ooh. That's a good one.
You can't do that, Andy.
I just did. Stop me.
It would be raspberry and lemon sorbets.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I'm going to say Premier ice cream and steal Cat's idea.
So,
oh, thanks.
So I've got an idea. It's horrible, potentially.
Oh, no. Is it salad? Is it salad ice cream?
No, it's not. So, you know how, so, okay, in the context of like Dragon Ball, I'll put it this way, like they shoot fireballs from their hands. So what if it was like fire flavored ice cream, but what if it was ice cream that was flavored like flaming hot Monster Munch?
Yeah,
You
you
know
were right.
what?
You were right. That is a horrible idea.
It probably exists. It probably exists, and I would probably try it, to be honest. So
I mean, that is the first thing that came to mind. So
spicy Premier ice cream, spicy Dragon Ball Z ice cream. Sorry, I've got the chat open as well, and I can see your replies. Okay, they are both good answers. 'Cause Andy stole mine, he gets the points. Okay, another question from Waxter over on Twitter. All the Anime and Funimation Manga UK partly own several licenses in UK that are split between the two, i.e. SAO. Do you think in future there's a possibility on a deal to add the missing titles / seasons onto the UK Funimation service, like FMP?
It's always a possibility. Obviously, where we have digital rights for any series, we're always open to, what platforms we can put it on. So certainly no news on that, nothing that we can report, but we're always looking at that kind of stuff. We're always open to offers for, platforms that want to host our content. So, never say never, that's for sure.
Not when it comes to us.
I mean, hey, look at the stuff we've done in the past. Literally, at this point, anything could be possible.
Cool. Okay, from Tails QB over on YouTube chat, will there be a Gundam Day on the sale?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one because it's another bit of a change from the norm of how we run Christmas sales in recent years. Normally, every day of the sale, we've tended to have sort of a set of products each day. Whereas this year, we're changing things around a little bit. While we have a new product debuting every day, and obviously our mystery box on day one, everything else that we're putting on sale over the sale period will be available and on sale for that entire 12 days of Christmas run. So you won't have to kind of, pick up things on different days necessarily. You can, you'll be able to kind of buy everything day one if you want, or kind of, wait towards the end of the sale. Which obviously kind of, factors into what we were talking about a little bit previously in terms of, the international shipping costs and discount codes and so on and so forth. So yeah, basically there won't be specific sale days beyond the new products that we just showed you on this panel. Everything else will kind of be available for the entirety of the sale to pick up whenever you wish.
But it is also worth adding a slight note to that is obviously depending on stock availability, because all of our collector's edition products are one-time print runs, limited edition items. So hypothetically, if you were wanting to order, say, 5 or 6 things, and one of those things sold out before you actually placed your order at the end of the sale, obviously you will have missed out. So that's ultimately your discretion, but that's the way we've tried to work it this year, to factor in basically lots of feedback that we've had in the past, right, Andy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're trying to make life easy for you as much as we can, and yeah, this is one of the things. We're always kind of experimenting and seeing what works for people, and this is one of the things that we're changing for this year. So by all means, if you have any feedback on any of that, we'd love to hear it.
Cool. That's very, again, detailed answer. No points for that.
No points? What? How does that work?
That's not quite the ice cream question, is it? All right, we've got one from Jordan James from YouTube chat. Are we getting any more information on the Cardcaptor Sakura movie release you guys picked up a while back? And I swear it wasn't me that asked it.
Are you sure, Kat?
No,
yeah,
no.
Are you sure, resident Cardcaptor Sakura fan? So Cardcaptor Sakura in general is something that we should talk about. Honestly, we were hoping to release Cardcaptor Sakura, the TV series, this year, but we started looking at it as a project and what was going to be involved with it. And as you can imagine, it's a big TV series, there's a lot to do with it. It's a pretty big and complex project. It's a bit of a kind of a dodecahedron of a project, quite honestly. So basically, we're looking to release it in 2021 now. No precise dates or exactly what we're doing. We're still working on it. But that is kind of our intention as things stand. And obviously that's kind of our priority first and foremost, to get the TV series out there. The movie will probably follow after that at some point. So very much one to watch this space on next year.
Cool. Andy gets that point. Unless Jeremy can come in and take the lead, but
If you want to hear us talk about Cardcaptor Sakura, make sure you go back into the archives of the All the Anime podcast, because we did discuss the first 3 episodes, which are available to watch on Channel 4's All 4 service.
Okay, you get a bonus point for that little bit of a segue. Okay, From Comfy on Twitter, are you going after more audio dramas in future? Please. There's like lots of emojis, like the begging face, going, please, please, please.
I mean, I will say, certainly be interested to hear if there are any specific ones that they're kind of begging for. I mean, I think for us, it's really just a case of kind of where it makes sense to do so. Obviously, Full Metal Panic was very much a special case because as soon as Invisible Victory aired, a lot of people were saying, like, well, what about this missing kind of light novel that's not been adapted into the anime? You know, it's only an audio drama. We're never going to get to see it. So we really went the extra mile to make sure that you could. But, you know, that aside, if there's a good reason or a good case and we're able to pick it up, then it's certainly something we'll look into. We haven't talked about it quite so much, but you know, we released some Megalobox audio dramas as a bonus DVD on our Megalobox Collector's Edition as another example of that. So, you know, where it's available and where it's possible and where it makes sense to do it, certainly not against the idea. Like if there are other titles where you feel like those audio dramas are really important, always happy to hear about them. We might not be able to you know, acquire the rights, etc., because they're often a separate thing to the actual TV series themselves in terms of licensing. But you know, always happy to hear suggestions on that front because we want to make our collector's editions as definitive as possible where we can.
Nothing to add. I agree.
No, I concur. From Calvin McKinnon, with the first Blade release outside of Japan having been announced for Italy, are there any plans to bring Miyazaki's Future Boy Conan over here?
I mean, I think a lot of us here at Anime Limited would really love to. Like, it's a really kind of seminal part of anime history. It's kind of come into a lot of people's consciousness again because of Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which kind of like refers to that as its starting point. But no, I mean, it's not something that we have any news on or anything, you know, we can announce right now. But it's an interesting concept, you know. It is a classic, you know, as mentioned. It's you know, sort of an important part of Miyazaki's career, and it's an important part of anime history. So you know, it kind of fits in with the kind of thing that you know we love here at Anime Limited. But you know, nothing to report at this time.
Yeah, to sort of add almost an anecdote, going back to our first Cloud Matsuri back in May, it was very interesting listening to all the guests when we asked them, how did you get into anime? And the amount of them that mentioned Future Boy Conan was very, very interesting to see. So in terms of what it's led to in the development of the anime industry as a whole and what gets created in Japan, it is clearly and obviously very important in anime history. And like you said, Andy, it would be fascinating and interesting to be able to do that. But whether it is actually possible, it is a completely different matter entirely.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. I just have one line. There's no one, I think, various people asking, any news on Evangelion?
It's coming in 2021.
There we go.
Yeah. As we kind of mentioned when we announced it back at Cloud Matsuri in May, and man, I just enjoyed dropping that bombshell so much on people.
Yeah.
But no, as we mentioned there, like nothing to report until we have something to report. Like I can tell you, you know, it's something that's being worked on hard in the background. You know, there's a lot of work going on with it. Of course, we haven't forgotten about it. It's Evangelion. But yeah, nothing to report at this time. But it's still very much in progress, and hopefully, you know, we will have things to share with you as time goes on. So yeah, as always, watch this space, sign up to our newsletter, keep an eye on our website and social media, and we will, as soon as we know anything, we will be dying to tell you about it. So don't worry about that.
We're really vibrating angrily, like. Okay.
So I will add to that as well. If you guys want to sign up to the mailing list for Evangelion, it's evangelion.alltheanime.com, and that site will get updated as well when there are updates, so you can see what has been announced so far. And also worth saying, like, we do see your questions, guys, and it's not that we're just being silent on it. It's just literally the next time we talk about it, it's going to be an update, basically. That's the way it's going to work. So really appreciate your patience on that, because trust me, we want to talk more about it. But until some more things are just signed up and whatnot, we want to hold fire.
Cool. I think we've got time for one more question.
Quiz Mistress Cat, what is the final question of all the anime industry panel one today?
What are the plans for Persona 5 release?
Yeah, so see, a bunch of people asked us about that one. Coming 2021, for sure. We will have more details, hopefully soonish, or certainly early next year. So yeah, it's in progress. It's being worked on. You know, it's probably going to be a pretty similar model in terms of the release and kind of, you know, how it's packaged, at least to the US edition. If people have seen that, that's kind of our broad plan. But yeah, like, stay tuned, keep your eyes peeled. If you need some Persona in your life, Persona 5 Daybreakers is available from us on Blu-ray now, so you can pick that up and to tide you over.
Indeed. And I think with that being said, we are going to wrap up this All the Anime Industry panel. Coming up next at Cloud Matsuri, it is the introduction to cosplay armor making with Analic, that being Amber, who will be bringing you a really cool panel, giving you all the ins and outs that you need to know. And there will be a live Q&A aspect to that panel as well. So if you go onto our Twitter, you can find the details using the Cloud Matsuri hashtag and ask cosplay at the start of your tweet if you want to submit a question via Twitter. And if you're in the chat room on YouTube, you can submit questions via there as well, and we are going to correlate those as best as we can. Andy, Kat, anything else to say before we conclude here?
No, just enjoy the rest of Cloud Matsuri, and we'll see you guys around on other panels.
And don't forget to check out the Craig Payton drawing panel later at 7 o'clock before the Cyber City Uedo one.
Yeah, if you haven't already, folks, cloudmatsuri.com. Go over there, check out the merch that's on sale, check out the special offers. You can download a con badge in the extras section. It's really cool. Hint, Kat designed it. And also you can see the full schedule as well. With that being said, folks, thank you very much for tuning in to this All the Anime Industry panel here at Cloud Matsuri. Thank you very much for watching, and Cloud Matsuri will roll on in just a few minutes.
Bye.
Bye.